Alright, welcome to Pince's Garage and Fabrication. Today we're going to be working on the 08 Audi A4 2.0T, and we're going to be doing coolant hoses here. And specifically, we're going to be talking about our heater core hoses. Now, as you can see, we had an issue with this one. It actually broke the plastic section off. And they have these nice quick connect pieces here, but they're plastic, they wear out over time. And obviously these are more than 10 years old, so with a little bit of oil dripping on them, deteriorating them, they're probably going to break. So I went ahead and I got both hoses. And they assembled something like this, you can see. So one of them comes in up underneath the intake on the back here, and then the other one, the one that broke, comes in on the exhaust side, passenger side of the car. I mean, if you're left-hand drive like me. But so on the exhaust side of the car, up underneath the back side of the cylinder head, it clips onto a plastic coolant neck right there. So easiest way to change these, because it goes up into the firewall right here. There's a rubber pass-through guy. Easiest way is to do them both at the same time, and then you don't have to worry about, because they look so similar, whether it's a return or which one you're getting. You may as well just get them both. And then you don't have to worry about them, and it's easier to change them both at the same time. Now these hoses, they stick like no other. I've done a lot of coolant hoses. These ones stick onto the pipe super bad. Now, a lot of times you can get in there with a pick and work around. You can't get them to break loose that way. A little more time consuming. You got to be careful not to scratch the aluminum up too much where it goes into the heater core right there. And actually that's not the heater core. I think the heater core's down farther, but that's the pipe that goes to the heater core. But anyways, so to avoid scratching that all up, and I was changing them anyways, I carefully cut with a razor blade the top of both hoses. So I had the pick underneath peeling up and slowly cut into it and worked my way down, and then worked around and popped them off. That was the easiest way to get these off. The fun part was actually getting these disconnected from the pipes. The one on the intake side was more easy because I had something to grab a hold of, and it's attached to, I believe, a steel pipe there, so it's not as fragile. So what I did is I grabbed a hold of it real firm, gave it a good wiggle, and then it came off. It wasn't too awful bad because it had something to grab a hold of. The other one, on the other hand, I don't know if you can see all the marred up marks on it from where I grabbed it with pliers and was giving it a wiggle. You can't twist these. They have these little spots that locate them so that they don't twist. You can give them a little wiggle and in multiple directions, and that will help. But when I got this off, what I had to do was get my big screwdriver out. And so reaching around the engine, I didn't take any of this apart really. The only thing that I actually took off was the positive battery terminal, and just kind of pushed that out of the way just to give me a little more room to reach down in towards the firewall. So I just lay down on the engine like this, reach around, and you can feel everything out while you're doing it. So to get that second pain in the neck one off on the back of the cylinder head, actually I think it's on the back of the block, but you know what I'm talking about, underneath the back of the cylinder head here. To get that off, I had to reach in from the exhaust side, giving it a wiggle, and well, actually I felt out to see where I needed to put my screwdriver, and I carefully pried on the edge of the flange, like so. I tried several times to get it from the exhaust side because I thought I had more room to work from over there, but I just couldn't get anything in there to get any leverage on it. So I did from the intake side, and it really didn't take that much pressure to pop it loose. So don't super pry on it, but prying while wiggling on it, it came right off. So don't force it. That neck back there is a plastic neck. So if you force too hard on it, you may break the neck. And I mean, if you're gonna replace that anyways, you might want to do that at some point as well. That's up to you. Maybe plan ahead and get the neck for it. I did buy both of these coolant hoses from ECS Tuning. They don't sponsor me or anything. They've been good to me. My only issue I've ever had with them is when I ordered these hoses, I ordered some coolant and they didn't send me any coolant. They didn't charge me for it, and it was in fact on my order, but they didn't send it. They probably didn't call me though because my phone was not working at the time. So they probably would have called, but ECS has been great. They're great parts, great prices, and they've got great selection, and they also have kits available. So when I wasn't sure where my leak was coming from, I was looking at kits. You can get a whole kit. Replaces your coolant reservoir right here. Those commonly crack and leak. I'm gonna have to do mine at some point because I do have some cracks in it. And then you can get kits that come with just that and the thermostat housing, or just the thermostat housing and all the coolant you need. There's multiple kits, and you can get a kit that comes with the thermostat housing, which is down here, and your water neck on the back. I think they call it coolant flange or something, but you can get that piece. I didn't see any with the hoses, but I mean, you can buy the hoses separately. Not a huge deal. All I needed was the hoses for now, so I went ahead and just bought the hoses. Trying to save a little bit of money right now. But eventually I do plan to do my thermostat housing because they do fail occasionally. Do that, and when I do that, I'm going to do the reservoir and my coolant flange in the back underneath the cylinder head. So to do, like I said, to do these heater core hoses, you don't need to really unhook anything. When you're getting a little more deeper and you're going to be replacing, your thermostat housing and stuff like that, then you might need to take a few more things apart to get to some stuff. But like I said, I didn't have to take anything extra apart except for I pulled the positive battery terminal off, and that just gave me a little more access. So once you've got your two disconnects done back by the firewall here, your quick connects, and I just pulled the clips right out of them. That way there was no question as to whether they were still holding on or not. They come off pretty easy. All you do is slide a pick in there and pop it open, and it should release, but I mean, just a little bit extra wiggling, and I popped the whole clip right out of there. I didn't have to worry about it reconnecting on me while I'm trying to wiggle it. And so I got those disconnected pretty easy. Well, not easy. One was a pain in the neck, as I described. But then cut the hoses on the top. That wasn't too awful bad. And then the rubber grommet that they go through, it pops in an upward motion. So you take the whole assembly right out through, right next to the battery right here. And then pay attention to where it goes onto the hoses. And I just removed one at a time and slid them into position. Then sliding them down into the back into the hole was a little bit of a pain in the neck. I actually flip-flopped the hoses a couple times because I thought they were in the wrong location. So you might need to just peel it out and make sure that you're sending the hose to the correct location. You got the right hose on the right side. So I did fiddle around with that a little bit, but that wasn't too awful bad. Make sure to lubricate your seals. You can use just antifreeze. You can lubricate them with that. Silicone type lubricants can be used on rubber. Any other type of lubricant, anything that's petroleum based or anything like that, is not safe for rubber seals. It will swell them and cause them to leak, which is one of the reasons that these tend to fail, because you get a leak at your vacuum pump back here. And that's another thing you need to check. You need to make sure that your vacuum pump is not leaking and that your chain cover on the back of your cylinder head is not leaking as well. If you have leaks there, then you need to remedy those so that you don't keep having to have to replace these. Get that taken care of, and if you've got the chain cover off and you're doing the timing chain and everything, that's super easy time to get these hoses taken care of and do that flange on the back. It's more money, but it saves you a lot of time if you're going to go ahead and in there anyways. So that's the basics. I think I'm going to take the camera and out of my light, I'll give you a look closer at what this stuff actually looks like back in here behind the firewall. I think we can see the hose there. That's mine, the one that broke on mine. It's all in place. When you put those on, it'll snap firm. You'll know that it's clicked in. It'll be a real nice firm snap. And you're good to go. And your other one. See that? It's not the one with the clamp. It's the one with the quick connect. Trying to get the light positioned right so you can see it back there. And you can see they both go up underneath. You got your hoses go down to your my light kind of sucks for this, doesn't it? See, there's your rubber grommet down there that it goes through. So it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was a pretty simple job aside from figuring out how I was going to get the hoses off, because they tend to fight you, and then just filling up the coolant system. When you do fill up the cooling system, you got a handy dandy screw right here. I know my lighting sucks in the garage, I apologize, but see, here it is. That screw, you take that out and it's just straight through to the pipe right here. This is your bleeder screw. So what I did was I took this out, and as I'm filling the reservoir, and I fill it slowly because it'll gurgle down slowly, and you just keep filling it till the coolant comes out of here, and then you put your bolt back in. Beware, if you don't catch it fast enough, it may just spill out and make a mess on your floor. So throw a drain pan or something underneath there to catch your excess. And you can crack this guy open, you know, once it's warmed up be super careful if you do something like that. You shouldn't really need to. I took it for test drive, turned the heat on, and actually, before I take them for a test drive, I usually rev them for, 4 or 5 minutes, stationary at about between 2 and 3,000 RPMs. I try to stick around 2,500, and that keeps your water pump spinning real fast. So it's forcing the coolant into your heater core, and as long as your heat is coming out of the vents and your engine is not overheating, if it hits that, starts creeping up past the normal range, then you want to shut it off right there and let it cool off a little, maybe top off the system some more. But I didn't have any problems with that because I opened up the bleeder and I got enough coolant. I also massaged the hose a little bit. That helped too. And I got most of the air out of it. There was a lot in the heater core, and I knew that because when I let it idle the first couple times, my heat would go away, and that means there's an air pocket in the heater core, and that's the hardest spot to get the air pocket out of usually. So the revving usually circulates the coolant well enough that it pulls the air out and gets it to that tank, but you got to rev it for a while, like I said, 4 or 5 minutes, and then it's best to usually just shut it off at that point when it's idling fine and your heat is staying. Let it cool off a little bit, then top off the system, then take it for a drive. I went ahead and took it for a drive because I've done enough of these, cooling system bleeds, that I knew it wasn't gonna have a problem, and made sure it was running decent, because we did lose all the coolant. Luckily my wife was in a parking lot when it happened, so she wasn't sitting in traffic or anything, so I don't think she did any damage. And she did shut it off once she realized it was smoking and stuff. Yeah, so that's super simple to change these out. I just wanted to cover this because I didn't see any that was just for heater hoses, and I figured it might help some people out because some of the other videos were telling you got to take a bunch of stuff apart, and I was kind of dreading it, honestly. It really wasn't that bad. These are pretty easy to change, aside from getting the hoses off, like I said. But you got somebody like me to tell you better ways to get the hoses out of there, that should make it easier for you. I hope this was helpful, and keep on wrenching.